Good morning. Good morning, everyone. We're all welcome once again to ATP Live. As you all know, we have one educative thing to always talk about. Topic is on malnutrition. Please kindly invite your family, your friends to join us. And whatever questions you have on malnutrition, you can always drop on the group and we'll read to our doctor. Let's welcome our doctor, Dr. Olatomi Bamigode. We are welcome, doctor.
Thank you. Good morning, Felicia. How are you?
I'm fine, ma. How are you doing, ma? Yes,
I'm
ma.
fine.
Yes. Our topic today, as earlier said, is malnutrition. What do you have to say? Because so many parents are itching to hear, what do I need to do? What should I feed my child? When do I know my child is malnourished?
Okay. So, good morning, everybody. As mentioned, we are talking about malnutrition today. And in simple terms, in the simplest terms, malnutrition refers to getting too little or too much of certain nutrients. There are a lot of nutrients we take into our body, and we have what you call the micro and the macronutrients. And malnutrition just refers to when you have too little or too much of these nutrients. And that's basically malnutrition. The word malnutrition means mal means something that is bad, and nutrition means the nutrients we take in, about taking in of nutrients. So the combination malnutrition just means bad nutrient intake.
Okay.
And it's a condition that results from nutrient deficiency or overconsumption, as earlier stated. So we have different types of malnutrition, and it could be that you're taking too much or you're taking too little. When you take too little, we are talking about undernutrition.
Okay.
And this when you're not getting enough of proteins, calories, the micronutrients. Micronutrients are the things that we can't really see with our eyes. Those trace nutrients like iron, those trace nutrients like folic acid, like vitamin A. It means you're taking too little of them. And when you're taking too little, it leads to a low weight. Either your weight for age, which we just say on the weight, or your weight for your height, that means your weight is smaller than the height you have, or your height for your age is small, which is stunting. So it could lead to either you being on the weight, you not being tall enough, which is stunting, or you are just gaunt. Your height is okay, but your weight is not okay for that height. And we'll talk about a child that is wasted in that
Okay.
circumstance. Or you have a overnutrition, that
Okay.
overconsumption of some nutrients, such as proteins, such as calories, fat, and this also leads to bad nutrition. This kind of people are usually overweight or they have obesity. And so, just as we said, their weight for age is abnormally high, their weight for height is abnormally high. We calculate the BMI and is abnormally high. These are the people that we say they have overnutrition. Need to say that malnutrition is it's a major cause to mortality and morbidity, to disease spectrum and death, and that is why it is a thing of concern. I'm sure previously most people feel the overweight child is just a healthy child and is a
Mhm.
child, but we know now that both being overweight and undernourished and overnourished implies or connotes a bad nutrition.
Okay.
So I've mentioned that we could have deficiency of macronutrients. We're talking when you're talking macro, we're talking about proteins, we're talking about fats and oil, we're talking about carbohydrates and all that. And I've mentioned what the micronutrients are. And
Okay, ma'am.
that it's possible to be overweight and obese, but you are still having
Okay.
that because you are taking excessive caloric consumption. When you are taking all this high caloric food, things like fast foods, things like sugary drinks, you are having enough caloric consumption, which is making you overweight. But you're actually lacking in the micronutrients because all this food does not have enough of the micronutrients like the vitamins and minerals that you need. And so you become overweight, but you are low in all these macronutrients, most of which are quite useful in the fight against illnesses and prevent illnesses. So we need to eat right. It does bring to fore the fact that we not only need to eat in enough quantities, but we also need to eat right, and we need to eat what will span across the whole nutrients that we need to take.
Okay, ma.
You want to say something?
No, ma. I'm following, ma. I'm following.
Okay. So how do we know that a child is malnourished? How do we know? There are signs to see, there are symptoms we see, and that depends on the degree of the malnutrition. So malnutrition ranges from mild, underweight, malnourished child to a child that is severely malnourished. And the ability to recognize this can help us to know what is happening and quickly seek help for that child that is not well nourished. So when we are talking of undernutrition, we get things because there are not enough nutrients in the diet. So you can see a child who is small for age, the weight is not okay or is losing weight. You see the child looks like an old person because there is loss of fat and muscle mass. The eyes look hollow or sunken. These are in severe forms. The swollen stomach, dry hair and skin, wound does not heal well. This child is not just active because the child is fatigued and tired most of the time. It could affect cognition, so they can't concentrate well. They are quite irritable and all. But these are the forms that is becoming severe. The major thing we may see in a malnourished child is a child whose weight is not okay for the age. And when we compare that child's weight with the weight for the age, we start out by saying this child is underweight, malnourished. Or if it is above, this child is overweight and malnourished. Those might be the earliest signs. And that brings to fore the need for growth monitoring in children. Growth monitoring is one of the child survival strategies that came into being, which means that from time to time, especially when you take your children for immunization, they must be weighed. There is a growth graph that is supposed to be checked to be ensure that this child is on a path to good growth. And when we see that that child is not, it brings to fore the fact that we need to sit down this mother down and give her adequate nutritional counseling. So whenever you go for your immunizations, when you have the cause to go to the hospital, please make sure your child's weight is checked so that we don't get to the severe forms of malnutrition that we have talked about, the symptoms and signs of them. And then undernutrition, if it's micronutrient deficiency, you could have some things like vitamin A. You could have it causing blindness if it's not addressed, increased risk for infection. So these micronutrients, those small, there are things they do in the body that makes it very important that we have to take them in. For overnutrition, the main sign of overnutrition, I've said, is overweight and obesity. So the height of the child is taken, the weight is taken. We calculate what you call a body mass index, and it helps us to know whether the child is actually overweight or obese. And I've also said that the fact that a child is overweight or obese does not mean they are not lacking in those essential nutrients, which are small but have a magnitude of function in the body. So those are the things for malnutrition. So how do we assess a child? I want to assess if a child is malnourished. You need to go to the healthcare provider. I've said there are tools we use to identify malnutrition. We want to check for weight loss. We want to check if the weight is okay for age. We want to check if the weight is okay for height. We want to calculate the body mass index. We may need to do some blood tests. We may need to do some nutritional assessments and physical examination. Now, I need to say at this point that malnutrition, especially undernutrition, could occur due to different reasons. Malnutrition could occur when a child is not taking adequate nutrients. It could occur when a child is actually taking adequate nutrients, but is losing more than what he should be losing. So when you're having children that are having frequent episodes of diarrhea, they are prone to malnutrition. Frequent episodes of respiratory tract infections, frequent episodes of malaria, any infective process at all, makes children prone to malnutrition because they keep losing what they are taking and then the body cannot utilize it. So we need to identify all this when it comes to malnutrition in children. What are the long-term effects of malnutrition? Why are we so concerned about malnutrition? It can lead to development of disease. Some children could have chronic health conditions arising as a arising due to the previous malnourished state they have been. There have been studies that have shown that there are higher risk of obesity, heart diseases, and diabetes when you have had a malnourished child later in life. And it's also been shown that they tend to have high blood pressure. These are due to the things that have been modified in their body by reason of that nutrition they have had. And that also occurs with overnutrition. So there is higher chance of heart disease, there's higher chance of diabetes, and we need to know that all these things tend to contribute to the non-communicable diseases in this age group when they are getting to their adolescent age. So
Okay.
that is it about malnutrition. So what are the things that causes malnutrition? Diseases, I've mentioned digestive problems and issues with absorbing the nutrients. So they are eating, but they can't absorb and they are losing it. Or they are eating, they are absorbing, but an infection is not making them to utilize it. They are losing more, or because they are just not taking enough. And when we talk about malnutrition, we want to talk about prevention of malnutrition, definitely. How do we prevent malnutrition? Malnutrition starts from the mother's womb. We cannot talk about malnutrition without talking about maternal nutrition. In good climes, when you want to get pregnant, you could actually go for a pre-conception assessment to know how you are, to know the state of your health before you take in and have a baby. Because it is very important that the maternal health is in good condition. So a mother needs to eat well. She needs to make sure she is well enough to carry a baby. And that nutrition is what, our own nutrition is what provides the nutrition for the fetus when the baby is inside the womb. And then when the baby is born, we talk about exclusive breastfeeding, which has been shown to reduce the rate of malnutrition. And that is when you breastfeed your baby for the first 6 months of life, no water, no pacifiers, nothing else except milk. That has been shown to reduce malnutrition. And of course, after 6 months, a baby cannot thrive on breast milk alone. So we advise that you add complementary feeds. Complementary feeds are those other foods aside breast milk that are locally available to you or are already processed and are being on sale that you can use for your child. So examples of these are cereals. We have our own local pap that a lot of mothers use, and we had things to eat. And then you can also start using some family feeds in the consistency that that child can take. What are the things that affects nutrition? The frequency of the food, the density of the food, and the frequency of the food. So we need to make sure that we are giving a nutrient dense meal, which means if you're giving your child pap, for example, we know pap itself is not a nutrient dense meal. So you need to add other things to make it what? Nutrients dense. If you are giving the child any other thing that you need to add something, you need to make it nutrients dense. And because the stomach of these children are so small, we need to make sure that that little volume they need to take is nutrient dense enough to provide all the calories that they need to have. We need to make sure that we feed them frequently. So I've seen mothers that you ask them, how many times does your child eat in a day? These are children less than 1 year, and they're telling you 3 times. A child can follow the routine of the family. They need to feed more frequently. Most of these children will take, as they grow, it may be reducing, but they will take about 6 meals in a day, depending on their age. And if you are giving 6 meals in a day, you are feeding a child every 4 hours. If you are giving 3 meals in a day, you are feeding a child every 8 hours to be able to, every 3 hours to get about 8 a day. So it depends on the age of the child. So I've said we need to be conscious of the density of the food. We need to be conscious of the frequency of, and we also need to be conscious of the volume of the food. These are the things that we need to take into cognizance and ensure we are doing to ensure that our children are having the nutrition that they need. Of course, when it now comes to different food and how to add things, we need to be mindful of those too. So that's it. So I've talked of ways to prevent malnutrition, breastfeeding exclusively, adding complementary feeds as at when due, while continuing on the breastfeeding, and ensuring that your child has one, the right density of food, two, the adequate frequency, and three, the adequate volume of food.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Man, like you said the other time, you said a pregnant woman should eat right. Because I've had instances where some mothers will tell you they can't eat this, they can't eat that. So, what is eating right in pregnancy?
Eating right in pregnancy is actually ensuring that you are taking enough of nutrients from different food groups. Before we used to talk about balanced nutrition, but that word is not usually used again. So the thing is, you are taking enough nutrients from different food groups. So we have the carbohydrates, we have the fats
Mhm.
and oil, we have the protein, we have the vitamins and minerals, we have water. Your food is supposed to consist of everything around all those food groups. What is done for mothers also is supplementing with folic acid, supplementing with iron, so that they have enough iron in their body, because the body requirements for iron increases during pregnancy. So they have enough iron to keep their own blood levels okay, and also enough stores in their body so that when they are feeding their children, their breast milk is also rich in iron. And we give also folic acid. That's because there are increased demands. But most of other demands can be met during pregnancy. Take enough of green leafy vegetables, make you are taking adequate protein. Make sure that your plate, when you take your plate, try and divide your plate into segments and make sure it consists of a portion of carbohydrate, portion of the of the green leafy vegetables, a portion that represents fats and oil, which might have been used in the preparation of the food. Of course, those green leafy vegetables and all that also brings in the vitamins that you have there. Fruits are also a good source of vitamin. So don't stack your plate with just one food group. That will not amount to adequate nutrition. And then we also have a lot of taboos
Okay, ma'am.
are pregnant, and they say don't eat this, don't eat that. And it's funny that some of these foods are
Mm-hmm.
foods that the mother actually needs. We need to be mindful of this stuff and make sure there is nothing. I've heard things like if you take okra in pregnancy, your child will be producing a lot of saliva. If you take snail in, your child will be very slow.
Yes, ma'am.
So those are some myths and some traditional beliefs that contribute to inadequate nutrition in pregnancy. But we all know, I'm sure most of us have heard about the first 1,000 days of life, that is the period of maximal brain growth.
Mm-hmm.
That 1,000 days starts from the mother's womb, and we need to ensure that right from the womb, we are getting the nutrition of our children right. Because if a baby comes out and they are small when they
Okay.
are, it's a whole lot of issues also.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a vicious circle. When you have a mother that is malnourished, who produces a baby that is malnourished, a female child
Mm-hmm.
will grow up to a female woman who is malnourished, that will produce another baby that is more malnourished. So we need to break that cycle by adequate nutrition for our mothers.
Okay, ma. Thank you very much, ma. We have a question here for you, ma, from Ofe Ame. She said, "Good morning, all. What of the working mothers? What advice do you have for them in this exclusive breastfeeding drive?"
Okay? So for the working mothers, I must say that I've had a lot of working mothers that have done exclusive breastfeeding. So the first thing is it is. The second thing is making a commitment and a decision to breastfeed even before you have your baby. You need to make that choice. If you've made the choice, it helps you to prepare for your baby when you're on maternity leave and even when you have finished maternity leave. I know there's a lot of clarion call for companies, for employers of labor to ensure that a mother has adequate time during her mat leave to breastfeed the baby. But while we are waiting for this, let's start with us. A conscious commitment to, before you have your baby. If you start thinking about breastfeeding your baby when you've had the baby, you've not developed enough willpower. But if you've taken that conscious decision, then there's a commitment to it. So what do working mothers do? You have the initial time of your maternity leave to feed your baby exclusively. And while doing that, you are planning towards when you're going to resume at work. So we have some offices that they are going to tell you, okay, when you resume after your maybe 3 months mat leave, you're going to do a breastfeeding mother a program that you close early. There are offices that way. There are some that already have extended mat leave programs up to 6 months or above. And then there are some offices that have crèches within their offices just to promote breastfeeding. If you don't have that kind of facility, you could have a crèche around your office for your baby. And then you can express breast milk. You can actually express your breast milk, and you can start expressing. It's just because of if you have adequate supply of power and you have something to refrigerate, you can store breast milk in your refrigerator for months. The only thing is once you thaw it out, you freeze it. Once you thaw it, you cannot refreeze. I have a mother, and I use practical examples of people that have done this because it's doable, who had to go for a course when she was doing exclusive breastfeeding. And she was going to be away for like 3 weeks. And she started expressing for the baby until she came back from the course, the baby was still taking breast milk. So it's doable. You can express your milk. If you express your milk and you can put it on the table at room temperature, 6 hours. If it's in the refrigerator, around 72 hours. If it's frozen, it stays for a longer time. And then you can thaw it when you actually need it. So get a plan to breastfeed, support of your husband or whoever is around you that you want to breastfeed. That is always helpful. And then in your own spare time, they can even feed your baby while you're sleeping at night. If you have done that, start learning to express before you resume work. Don't start thinking of expressing your milk when you're about resuming. So that you are used to doing that, you could get a breast pump to help you express better. And then when you're resuming, have a plan. Start thinking when you have your baby, what crutch will I use if I have to use a crutch? How will I be able to keep my baby close to me so that I can still breastfeed intermittently? If I cannot do that, how best can I store my breast milk so that when I come back from work, my baby has an adequate supply of breast milk till I'm able to come and suckle the baby myself. So those are the things you could do.
Okay, Ma. Thank you very much, Ma. We have a backup question from Ofe Amen again. She said, I am a banker. I work in Cuba, live in Buari. I just resume by 7:30 a.m. and close by 3 p.m. It takes me 40 minutes to drive home. What will my baby feed on in the situation? Expressing. I get at most 90 meal, because my baby is a very hungry one. How do I sort this out?
Okay. So I don't know how frequently you get this night email. I don't know how frequently you try to express. Need to say that you can actually express your breast milk at work if you have a place to store it or you have a cold pack. So that time you're at work that your baby is not with you and your breast is full, you could also express at work, store it and bring it back home to refrigerate better. Don't leave the day when you're at work, your breast is full. Because when the baby is not suckling, the breast is not going to produce. There is a link between the breast and your brain. When there's a baby suckling, your breast tells the brain to produce. When there's no baby suckling, your breast sends a message, there's no baby. So frequent suckling is one of the most important things for milk production. In fact, it's the single most important thing for breast milk production after you have your baby. It is to suckle. So I don't know how frequently she has been suckling, and I don't know why she gets 90 mil at most. Possibly she's not producing enough. So a caveat to this is this: breast milk is the best for your baby. Planning for exclusive breastfeeding starts even before you have your baby. Planning for exclusive breastfeeding means when I have my baby, I don't give any other thing when I have. I put the baby to breast within 30 minutes of delivery and the baby starts suckling. I don't give any pre-breastfeeding feeds or anything. When we do some of these things, they tend to affect lactation. And once your lactation is affected and you are not able to produce enough, you may not be able to reverse that fully. If you cannot reverse that and it is clear, you have done everything and you have seen that my milk is not coming well, we do not advocate that you keep giving the baby inadequate supply of breast milk. Now what we are saying is that there's already a problem. So we cannot say the baby should starve. In that kind of situation, having done all and you see you're not lactating enough and it's not okay for the baby, we may want to tell you to supplement for this baby. But what we are trying to say is, because you're talking about malnutrition today, malnutrition is that you are not having enough. So if you've done something and your breast is not producing enough for your baby, we may need to supplement for that baby so that the baby does not end up malnourished, because you are trying to push exclusive breastfeeding in a woman whose lactation is already is already failing for one reason or the other. So, madam, what I will say is, please try and express at work. You can have somewhere to store it and then bring it home. You have 40 minutes drive home, so you get some baby. And then, if that is still not working for you and the volumes are not enough, I don't know how old your baby is, and I don't know how quickly you get this 90 mil. If you are getting 90 mil every 3 hours, kudos to you. Please keep it up. But I hope this 90 mil is not what you express in a day. It's not clear, but if you're getting 90 meals every day, keep it up. I'm sure you can do more, but try and see that you're emptying your breast even when you're at work during the day into a bed on the table, and a true maid can stay for 6 hours. And if you have somebody that can actually pick up for you during work when you express, you could explore that option too. So it's doable. I keep saying it's doable, been done. I've said people that travel have left breast milk for their babies. I know people lactate more than one another, but if you start it right, you start it on time, you don't do things that will cause a lactation failure, it is very doable.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, we have another question from Okereke Ada. Said a 14 weeks old baby weighing 7.5 kg. Is she overweight? She weighted 2.8 kg at birth.
A 14-week-old weighing
Yes,
7.5
7.5 kg.
kg. She weighed what at birth?
2.8 at birth.
So this baby has almost tripled. She has doubled the birth weight,
Weight.
yet to triple birth weight. Okay, so I'm just trying to make a calculation.
Yes,
That baby
ma'am.
6 kg now, based on our normal calculation. That's about 3 weeks old plus 9. Okay, that's about 6 kg. So, well, the baby's weight is above what it should be at that age. And the baby is feeding her head and has almost tripled the birth weight at 3 months, which should occur later. I don't know what she's feeding with. I don't know the frequency. If you're actually on feeding, please keep feeding your baby on demand. They have a way of drawing back when you start complementary feeds to what they are supposed to. This baby came out at 2.8. The birth weight might also be as a result of numerous factors, even the mother's nutrition and all. I know of mothers that don't eat well when they are pregnant because they want their baby to come out small. Then when they start feeding, the baby gets the actual weight that they could have come out with. And so that might be here. What are you feeding your baby with? Is the baby on exclusive breastfeeding? If so, I am not bothered. But if you are doing formula feeds and all, and the baby's weight is raising this way, then you need to watch it. Then there are also a lot of things that affects the way you gain weight. What's the family genetics like? Do they always have babies and all? That also attends it. And most of these babies do this, especially if it's exclusive breastfeeding. And as they grow, they draw back on that. So please, the 14-week-old baby, I'm sure the baby is feeding on demand. I will not be particular about being overweight in this baby. And this weight is not too excessive. The weight can be followed up just to be sure of the trend of the baby and the percentiles the baby is following on the growth chart. And you'll be better advised as that is followed up. So I won't use this one time weight to define your baby as being overweight.
Okay, ma. Yes, ma. Thank you, ma. Thank you very much, Dr. Olatomi. We have another question again from Tumike Lawal. She said, some breasts do not produce enough. What can I eat to enable lactation?
Okay. So there are some things that people have found out helps lactation. As simple as some of our local drinks, like kunu and something, some spices. There are some that are available that has been commercialized on sale, which you have worked for people. So you could talk to a doctor, let them talk to you, let them even be sure. Let's be sure that you're actually doing the breastfeeding the right way. Breastfeeding can feel as simply as the child is not latching on well. So if you don't get the latching on well, you don't get how you are positioning yourself to breastfeed well, the baby is not attaching well to the breast, it could affect everything because the baby will just be sucking on the nipple and that is going to be an issue. So the reason is I want you to first look at why are you not producing enough? Is it you are doing everything well and I'm not producing enough? Then you could look for some of those things. I've seen people that took things as simple as the local kunu and it helps their lactation. So there are things, but above all, make sure you are well hydrated when you are breastfeeding because breast milk also needs water to be produced. Make sure you are well hydrated, make sure you are eating well, and look for some of these things. We are online, so I don't want to be mentioning brands of things that you can get,
Yes,
but
ma.
you can contact a doctor or any nurse that has experience in lactation. I'm sure some recommendations will be made for you.
Okay, thank you very much. Another question in Friday, Josephine. What is the ideal weight for an 11-month baby girl?
11-month-old baby girl should be at about 10 kg. About 10 kg, yes.
Okay, okay, ma.
That's our
Okay,
average. So when we say these weights, they're actually average. What we do when we want to talk about malnutrition is to compare this the children's weight to the average. And then we have percentages that we interpret as malnutrition. Any child that is below 80% of the expected weight for age has some form of undernutrition or malnutrition.
okay, ma. Thank you, ma. Another question in Namdi favor. My baby is 5 months and 3 weeks. My baby weight is 6.5. He weighs 2 kg at birth.
Five
So
months
I think
and
she's asking, yes.
5 months
Five
and
months and 3 weeks.
okay. Was this a term baby? Was this a preterm baby? I don't know. But the baby was small right from birth. And the baby is now weighing 6 kg. Hello?
Yes, yeah, yes, ma. The baby is now weighing 6.5, ma. The baby was
6.5.
2 at birth,
The
weighing
baby has done
6.5
very
now.
well. I would say the baby has done very well. This baby started out very small, has tripled her birth weight already. The average weight at 6 months is actually 7.5. So this baby is close to that, and I'm sure he's trying to catch up for the low weight she came out with. So the baby has actually tripled and exceeded the birth weight. So I think the baby is on the right track. Keep feeding your baby well. And I don't know what you're feeding the baby with, whether it's exclusive breastfeeding, whether it's mixed feeding or what. But please keep doing what you're doing. The baby is doing well.
Okay, ma. Yeah, another question from
Something before your next,
Kelechi Olisa.
I want to say something before your next question. Something
Okay,
just
ma.
yeah. So I've had instances of mothers who are feeding their babies and they don't know how to graduate the volumes of feed for the baby. So a baby at 30 mil gets to 60 mil, and we have some babies that are not very aggressive when it comes to food.
Mm-hmm.
They will keep quiet. If you give them 60 mil, they will keep quiet. It's, as your baby grows, the volume of feed your baby needs grows with the baby. So if I'm giving If you are doing exclusive breastfeeding, you don't have any problem because the baby will suck what they want to suck to get full. If you're actually expressing and you're feeding your baby, you will be able to reach the volumes. So a baby that is taking 30 mil should move from 30 mil as they grow to 60, move from 60 to 90, move from 90 to 120. I remember the instance of a baby that is weighing 5 kg at 1 year. That's a
Mm-hmm.
severely malnourished child. And the reason was the child doesn't cry for food, but we finish any offered to her. And so has been on just 60 mil of feeds right from a long time. And all we did was to gradually step up the volume of, and the child was taking it. This is a child that just doesn't cry for food. So please, mothers, we need to be aware that as our child grows, the nutritional requirement grows with the child. So the volume of feed you give grows with your child. Please don't keep your child at a peg of volume of feed they are growing. So you wanted to read.
Okay, ma. Yes, ma. So Kelechi or Lisa said, I'm exclusively breastfeeding my 2 weeks old baby girl, weighing 3.2 kg at birth through CS. Immediately after breastfeeding, she poo. Please, is this normal?
Okay. It's normal for babies to poo after breastfeeding. It's a reflex. We call it the orocolic reflex. It's a reflex, which means I put something in my mouth, I bring something out from my bum. Reflex, like a reflex. It's a primitive reflex. Primitive means born with it, which we all outgrow. It tends to come into play. I'm sure you've had an episode of diarrhea before, and you put something in your mouth and you run to the toilet. So it tends to come into
Mhm.
time we have a diarrhea disease as adults. It's a normal thing for babies. What we'll be more interested in is this: how frequently the child's stool. Newborn babies could do up to 8 times a day, still normal. What is the consistency of the stools that the baby is bringing out? Is it seedy? Is it very watery? Is it pea soup? So the consistency of the stool is important. The number of times it's being done every day is important. But the stooling after every feed is a reflex in newborn babies. That is normal.
Okay, ma. Thank you very much, ma. Yes, another question from Uche Nzomiwu. Please, what is the ideal weight for a baby boy of 3 months?
The average weight. That's why I'm using the word average, because we said there are a lot of things that affect a weight. At what weight did it come out, right? It also affects the weight at that age, 3 months. So what we want to see, one, between 0 and 3 months, is a progressive growth. We expect that your baby should gain about 20 to 30 grams per day, which means that in a month, the baby will gain about what? About 600 to 900 grams. Some will gain averagely 1 kg every month. So we want to see that progression, one. And at 3 months, when we talk about height, we expect that a baby should be weighing 6 kg. But it depends on how, at what size did your baby come out. All those also affects. And that's why we always keep using the word average weight at that age. Most children will fall within that average.
Okay, ma. Thank you very much, ma. Well, another question from Iberi Favor. My son of 2 years doesn't like eating anything except one particular meal. She mentioned the brand. Is it okay like that?
So this child is likely a picky eater. Know what particular meal is she's referring to, but I do hope it's not a cereal that the child is still taking at 2 years. She needs to be more patient. She needs to make food interesting to the child. She could actually use some children have problems with changing textures of food. So she could actually work with using the homemade home foods that the locally available foods they eat in the house into consistencies that the baby may want to take. She should also see a pediatrician or a nutritionist. They will look at the child actively ask questions and then know how best we can help this child. But
Okay, ma.
taking just one meal, a particular type of food at 2 years, is not going to have the adequate nutrients that you need from different food groups. So it's a cause for concern.
Okay, ma. Yes, another question from Omodemilade Ade Ajoke Ade. What should I do? My baby doesn't eat. She's not taking food, only breast milk. She's 6 months.
Okay, so your baby is 6 months, and I think you want to introduce other foods. Ah, and she's not taking it well. Now, let me first disabuse this. The reason why baby is not taking other foods is not because she was exclusively breastfed. There are babies that are exclusively breastfed that move on to other foods just like they've been taking it forever. And there are babies that are formula fed that refuse to eat other foods. So I want to disabuse that because it's a major belief that when you exclusively breastfeed your baby, they don't take other foods easily. Now, you are introducing this child to something, this baby to something new. I will advise on patience. I will advise don't get frustrated. I will advise that you have to keep introducing things to her. You are likely going to soon get what you would like to take. The one thing that could be helpful for exclusively breastfed babies that are doing this is using the breast milk itself as the milk for your complementary feed. So you express the breast milk and use it for pap. You express the breast milk and use it for their cereal. So you are using a non-accepted taste to give them a new taste so that they accept it more easily. And it has worked for some babies when you use breast milk as a milk for those cereals. So try that also. And please, when you introduce something and the baby doesn't take to it easily, withdraw it, wait again, and start it. Don't force the baby. It sends a message to the baby that feeding time with any other thing is work,
Mm.
and you're only going to compound issues. The patient, make food time very, very pleasant. Make it interactive with your baby. Sing if you need to sing. Taste the food and give your baby. If you need to, you just have to find a way around it. I know some babies can be challenging. I always tell of my own son that I realize that the main time that we have to feed is when he's sleeping. Once his eyes
Mhm.
open, he doesn't take any food. When he's sleeping, put a spoon in his mouth, the mouth opens spontaneously. I think it had to do with him getting a lot distracted with other things. So you need to know your child. You need to, his motherhood is work. You need to find the feeding need that your child needs. So keep trying, be patient, don't get frustrated, introduce and take away, introduce and take away. Instead of using just cereals, there are children that take some particular cereals and don't take. Are you there? Hello? Hello?
Hello, ma. I can hear you, ma.
Okay, can you hear me now? Hello,
Hello,
can you
ma.
hear me?
Yes, ma. I can, ma.
Okay. So I was telling
Yes,
that
ma.
mom to be patient, to give the time. This baby is just 6 months, so it's a learning curve for the baby. Be patient with the baby. Introduce. should
Yes,
finish.
ma'am.
Oh. Look at this. Hello?
Hello, ma'am. I can hear you.
So please be patient, introduce things, withdraw it, wait for some time again, and introduce that thing.
Okay, ma'am.
Freak out when we give
Okay.
our
I
baby.
hope she heard that.
Yeah, we freak out because we give them and they don't take it, and we are like, they don't want this. No, it's a learning curve.
Okay.
So when you give, withdraw, look for another thing to offer, and then some days after, you can offer what you think the baby didn't want to take. And please
Okay,
don't
ma'am.
be fixated that my baby must take this cereal. My baby must take this. I always tell mothers when you want to transit to cereal, get a tin of a brand. If the baby takes it, fine. If the baby doesn't take it, get a tin of another brand. Use locally available meals. Some take that better. Can you hear me? Hello? Locally available available
Yes,
food
ma'am.
products, yes. Some babies take that better than the canned cereal. So I've
Mm,
said it's all discovery for you and for your baby. The important thing is that the baby will have something that they will take if you persist and you're patient enough.
okay, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am. Another question from Ajoke for Lorenshaw. What weight boy of he weighed 3 kg at birth?
Average, average weight for a baby of 13 months is about 10
Yes, ma'am.
kg, above 10 kg. So the first year of life, we expect averagely that a child should be 10 kg at 1 year. And then for the next up to 5 years, the average weight gain every year is 2 kg. So your baby raises in the first 1 year up to like a 10 kg, and then in the between 1 year and 2 years, the baby will gain 2 kg. So at 2 years, I expect a 12 kg. At 3 years, a 14 kg. At 4 years, a 16 kg. Sorry, I think I'm missing it there. 10 at 1 year, yeah. By the time, yeah, I'm right. By the time your child baby is 5 years, the baby should be about 18 kg.
Hello.
Hello.
Sorry for the break in transmission. We're having network each my side.
Okay. So I
Okay.
was saying the average weight at 1 year for that child, that's about 1 year, 30 months, is 10
Yeah.
kg. And then every year for the next 4 years, a baby gains 2 kg, a child gains 2 kg. So the average weight at 5 years will now be 18. So
Okay. Wow.
is anything around 10 or above, the child is doing well.
Okay, ma'am. Yeah. Another question from Angela Ogo. Please, my baby of 1 year, she doesn't like eating food. It's only breasts. What she like? What it's only breasts she likes. What should I do, please?
Okay, I just need to do this. There have been is that when a child is not taking other foods and is fixed on breast milk, you may need to take a call. And at those instances, we found out that when the child doesn't have breast milk, they eat. But now I need to be sure that that child has been adequately primed for complementary feeds. What have we given? What have we tried? How much of effort has the mother made to help the child feed? We have a variety of things we can do. There are babies that don't take cereals, but we take to the family table foods. So she needs to have been seen to have done everything. But that child is still fixed on breastfeeding. That's prolonged breastfeeding. Just doesn't want to do anything. We may need to take a call. Please let her see a doctor, preferably maybe a pediatrician. Let them assess the child. What is this child's weight? Is she saying that the child doesn't take anything at all, or she's able to give some things? So there needs to be a sit down with her to decide what exactly needs to be done.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. Another question from Adeleye Moturayo. My nipples are flat, so my baby finds it difficult sucking the left breast. So I express it out for him. I hope there is no implication for this. He sucks the other breast well.
Not at all. She's doing what is very right. Kudos to you.
Okay, okay, wow, okay. Yes. Another question from Nwanko Violet. I have noticed babies on formula grow fatter than exclusively fed babies. Mine is a good example. 5 kg at 3 months, 3 kg at birth, and she looks small.
So if the child has gained 5 kg, is 5 kg at 3 months,
Yes, ma'am.
2 kg in 3 months. That child has gained about what do I say it now? He has gained over 600 grams per month. One of the things breastfeeding does, I'm going to ask her a question. Are you breastfeeding your baby on demand? Are you ensuring that the baby feeds at both breasts at each feed? And you start from where you started last time, emptying the breast? Are you doing all those things? If you are, please don't be bothered. Your baby has still done well at 5. If the baby has gained more than 20 grams per day in the last 3 months. So I don't think there's a cause for alarm. Now, one
Okay, ma'am.
of formula feed is that you breastfeed, you feed more than the baby actually needs. The baby tends to take more than they need because you're priming the baby. They tend to be more bigger than what's it called, than breastfed
Exclusively
babies.
breastfed.
But it's not cast in stone because we have exclusively breastfed babies that are weighing so much. But because
Mm-hmm.
exclusive breastfeeding, we know what they're taking is a natural thing, is what the body produces. They have a way of thinning it out, unlike formula fed babies that don't have that advantage. So please don't get bothered. And I'm going to say this, stop comparing your baby to other babies. Just compare your baby to the standards. So you have a lot of overfed. We said malnutrition is both undernutrition and overnutrition. If what you're doing is you keep comparing your baby to an overfed baby, you always have a feeling that your baby is too small. But I've told you, if the baby weight 3 kg at birth, and the baby is now 5 kg, based on the expected daily weight gain in that period, is a range. Some gain 20, some gain up to 30, some gain more. Your baby is within that range, and I don't think there's a real cause for alarm. However, I will say this is a baby you should ensure is having growth monitoring. If there's any place you can measure the weight from time to time so that a progression is seen and we are sure that the baby is not falling below where the baby is supposed to be. So don't, at the same time, I've said it's still okay, but please don't go to sleep and keep breastfeeding. Thank you.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am. Another question from Adeyemo Princess. She said, which multivitamin supplement can you recommend for a 6-month-old baby? She was 4 kg at birth and 7 kg now at 6 months and 2 weeks. How can an affected lactation be corrected, ma? Well done.
Okay. So that's why we use the term lactation failure. It means that you can get to a point that your breast milk is not well enough because you've done some things. And at such times, we may need to supplement. And that's why we don't want it to get there. And we say these are the steps in successful breastfeeding. Make a decision. Start early. Get the attachment of your baby right. Get the frequency right. Do it on demand so that as long as your baby is making a demand on the breast milk keeps flowing. If your breast is not producing enough, you have started ensured that the baby is suckling enough, you have ensured that you are doing it on demand, you have ensured that everything is being done, and the baby is not growing well still or having enough, then you can supplement. But you can take advice from a pediatrician before you start the supplementation. Let's check that it's not that the baby is having other issues. I said at the beginning that malnutrition can arise from inadequate intake. I said malnutrition can arise from the presence of loss due to infections. It can also arise if a child is not absorbing those nutrients well. So yes, we focus on the intake. If a child is taking enough, judged by what we have asked, and the child is not growing, then we need to look at other things. We've had instances of mothers say the child is not taking enough, and we check the weight is okay, we check everything, the child is good, but there's a pressure of, oh, the child is crying, you need to give formula, the baby is hungry. The reason why babies cry is not hunger. Some cry for comfort, they want you to be cuddled. Some cry because their diapers are wet. They cry for different things, and the way they can express themselves is cry. Babies cry when they fart. Babies cry when they want to pee. All those things are listening to them, and so the way they express themselves is to cry. So you need to also learn to interpret your child's cry, especially if the child's weight is okay and the child is suckling well. It may not be that the child needs more. So don't time that your breast milk is inadequate by your baby's cry alone. You want to look at your baby's weight, you want to look at how it soaks the diapers, you want to look at a lot of things, and then you may be reassured that your baby is taking enough. Don't worry. But if the breast milk has failed by reasons of the things we've done, and the baby is not producing enough, please, even we as pediatricians, because nutrition is key in such instances, may advise a supplement.
Okay, ma. Yes, our time is fast spent, but let's take this last question from Precious Cheesy. Ma, please, my baby does not suck breast for long. I had to always feed him, and he throws up at the process. What can be the cause, ma? He weighed 2.6 kg at birth and 6 kg at 10 weeks.
2.6 kg at birth.
3.6 kg. 3.6 at birth. And he's presently 6 kg and he's 10 weeks old.
So this baby is about 2.5 months and has gained 2.4 kg. The weight gain seems adequate to me. But if you say your baby is vomiting feeds, please see a doctor. Why is your baby vomiting is the question. Yeah. I don't know if it's a recent thing, but based on the weight that you have said, 3.6 kg at birth, 6 kg at 10 weeks means your baby has gained 2.4 kg in less than in that period, and that is adequate. So, but we need to understand why your baby is vomiting. So please see a pediatrician.
Yes, sir. Okay. Thank you very, very much, Dr. Latomi. We really appreciate your time, and we thank you for you've really enlightened us and the mothers too. We really appreciate you, ma. Thank you, ma. Thank you for our viewers. We really thank you for joining us in today's program. Stay tuned with us same time next week. We hope to see you then. Kindly share these videos with your family and friends and all. We thank you very much, Dr. Latomi. Any last word for our audience?
Okay. Nutrition is very important for your child. Get nutrition right, you are likely going to get a lot of other things right. And like I said, nutrition starts from maternal nutrition. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, everyone. You can also drop your questions if you still have more questions on this topic or any other topic on our Facebook page, and it will be duly attended to by our professionals. Thank you very much. See you same time next week. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, well, thank you, Jesus. Move. Yeah. I hope you didn't record that.